Right now, in refrigerators all over the world, millions of people over 50 are about to make the same mistake. They'll pull out yesterday's leftovers, heat them up, and eat without a second thought, assuming that if it's hot enough, it's safe enough. Here's a number that should stop you. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death for adults over 50 worldwide, and researchers now say diet plays a bigger role in that risk than most people realize, especially how we store and reheat our food. And yet almost nobody talks about what actually happens inside your food, at a molecular level, the second time you heat it up. I'm your host here at Health Crux, and today we're breaking down for everyday foods that undergo real, scientifically documented chemical changes when reheated, changes linked to inflammation and heart health risk. Foods that are probably in your fridge right now. Stick around, because the last one on this list is something almost every health-conscious person assumes is completely safe. It isn't. Let's be clear about what we're talking about here. This isn't about an upset stomach or a bit of food poisoning. We're talking about the slow, silent buildup of harmful compounds in your body, the kind of damage that accumulates over months and years without you noticing, until your arteries and heart start paying the price. Heart disease doesn't appear overnight. It builds gradually, and some of the building blocks, like oxidized fats, advanced glycation end products, and inflammatory compounds, don't come from cigarette smoke or pollution. They come from your own kitchen. Health agencies have flagged several compounds formed during food reheating as significant contributors to chronic inflammation and arterial damage, two of the biggest drivers behind heart attacks and strokes. These aren't fringe theories. They're documented reactions happening on your stovetop and inside your microwave. And here's the part that should really get your attention. The people most at risk aren't eating junk food. They're the ones doing everything right: lean proteins, cooked vegetables, rice, eggs. Those are exactly the four categories we're covering today. Before we get to the foods themselves, let's quickly cover three mechanisms you'll see repeating throughout this video. First, oxidation, when fats and proteins exposed to air during storage become unstable, then break down further when reheated into compounds that damage blood vessels. Second, the Maillard reaction gone wrong, the same browning reaction that makes food taste good can, under repeated heat, produce advanced glycation end products, which drive chronic inflammation, a major contributor to heart disease and artery stiffening. Third, nitrite conversion, certain foods high in natural nitrates convert to nitrites during storage, which change further when reheated and have been linked to blood vessel damage over time. Keep these three in mind: oxidation, glycation, nitrite conversion. You'll see them show up again and again. Food number 1, rice. Rice feeds more people than almost any other food on Earth. Over 3 billion people rely on it daily, and leftover rice gets reheated constantly across nearly every culture. Here's the problem. It's not really about the reheating. It's about what happens while the rice sits in your fridge. As cooked rice cools, it becomes a perfect breeding ground for a bacterium called Bacillus cereus, naturally present in raw rice, which survives cooking and multiplies at room temperature or in the fridge. When you reheat the rice, the heat kills the bacteria, but it doesn't destroy the heat-resistant toxin they've already released, called cerulide. That toxin survives the microwave, survives the stovetop, and ends up in your gut intact, triggering inflammation that puts extra strain on an aging cardiovascular system. There's a second concern too. Repeated heating of starchy foods increases acrylamide formation, a compound also associated with oxidative stress in the body. So what should you do instead? Cook rice fresh when you can. If storing, spread it on a shallow tray to cool fast, refrigerate within 1 hour, eat within 24 hours, and never reheat it more than once. Food number 2, chicken. Chicken is the world's go-to lean protein, recommended by doctors, dietitians, and gym-goers alike, and leftover chicken almost always gets reheated. When animal muscle protein is exposed to high heat a second time, it undergoes protein oxidation, producing compounds called heterocyclic amines. Once in your body, these compounds can trigger inflammatory responses that, over years, contribute to arterial plaque buildup, a direct pathway to heart attacks and strokes, especially in adults over 50 whose arteries are already more vulnerable. Research has linked frequent consumption of reheated or well-done poultry to increased markers of chronic inflammation, one of the strongest known predictors of cardiovascular events later in life. So what should you do instead? Eat leftover chicken cold in salads or wraps when possible. If you must reheat, use the lowest effective temperature, and don't overheat beyond the safe internal temperature. Food number 3, spinach and other leafy greens. Spinach is one of the most celebrated vegetables in nutrition, rich in iron, folate, magnesium, and antioxidants. Eaten fresh, it's genuinely excellent for your heart. The problem starts with storage. Spinach, along with celery, beets, and Swiss chard, is naturally high in nitrates. In their fresh form, these nitrates actually support healthy blood pressure and cardiovascular function. But once cooked spinach sits in the fridge, bacteria on the leaves convert those nitrates into nitrites. When that refrigerated spinach gets reheated, the chemical changes that follow have been linked in multiple studies to blood vessel inflammation and disrupted blood pressure regulation, both major risk factors for heart disease in older adults. The irony is hard to miss. One of the healthiest foods on the planet can work against your heart health purely through a storage habit. So what should you do instead? Cook leafy greens fresh and eat immediately. If you have leftovers, eat them cold within a few hours, don't reheat. If you must store, keep airtight and consume within 6 hours, cold. Food number 4, eggs. Here's the one that surprises almost everyone. Eggs are nutritionally excellent, all 9 essential amino acids, choline for brain health, selenium, plus lutein and zeaxanthin for eye and cellular health. By almost any measure, they're one of the best foods you can eat. But reheating cooked eggs, especially scrambled or hard-boiled, creates a problem few people talk about. Eggs are about 13% fat, mostly in the yolk. Initial cooking causes normal, expected oxidation of that fat. But when the cooked egg is refrigerated and then reheated at high temperature, those already oxidized fats undergo much faster secondary lipid oxidation, producing oxysterols, oxidized cholesterol byproducts. Research has found oxysterols to be pro-inflammatory and pro-atherogenic, meaning they directly contribute to plaque buildup inside arteries, one of the clearest, most direct pathways to heart attacks and strokes, and a particular concern for adults over 50 who may already have some degree of arterial narrowing. So what should you do instead? Eat eggs fresh whenever possible. Store hard-boiled eggs unpeeled and eat cold. Avoid microwaving scrambled eggs or omelets. If you must reheat, use gentle indirect heat like a warm water bath, and never exceed 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's bring it all together. For foods, for mechanisms, one takeaway. Rice brings bacterial toxins and inflammatory stress. Chicken brings protein oxidation and arterial inflammation. Spinach brings nitrate to nitrite conversion and blood pressure disruption. Eggs bring cholesterol oxidation and arterial plaque risk. 3 mechanisms keep repeating: oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, and blood vessel damage. This isn't fear-mongering. It's food biochemistry with real implications for heart health, especially as we age. Here are the practical steps: no supplements, no special equipment, just smarter habits. Cook rice fresh, and if storing, cool within 1 hour, eat within 24 hours, never reheat twice. Eat leftover chicken cold when possible, reheat gently if needed. Don't reheat spinach or other leafy greens, eat them cold instead. Cook eggs fresh, store hard-boiled eggs unpeeled, and eat them cold. Get a food thermometer. Staying under 165 degrees reduces harmful compound formation. Never reheat any food more than once. Use a low-temperature oven instead of a microwave when reheating protein. And plan your portions carefully so you produce fewer leftovers in the first place, the single most effective change you can make. Which of these four surprised you the most? Rice, chicken, spinach, or eggs? Let me know in the comments, and tell me what food you'd like us to investigate next. I read every comment, and they genuinely shape future videos. And before you go, think of one person in your life who reheats leftovers without a second thought. A parent, a sibling, a friend living alone and reheating the same meal all week. Send them this video, not to scare them, just to give them the same information you now have. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your doctor before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have an existing heart condition or other health concerns. Thanks for watching Health Crux. See you in the next one.